Okay, so we have hit episode 3 of Watchmen, and this was a huge episode because we get introduced to another original Watchmen character in Silk Spectre, aka now Laurie Blake, taking the last name from her real father, the comedian. Let me just say that Gene Smart, who plays Laurie Blake here, does it perfectly, and somehow, some way, in an older age of Laurie Blake, plays what you would imagine the character from the comics would transform into as an older woman, especially adding some layer here of what her mother was like too, and what her mother kind of wanted her to be in a way, and things they talked about. And you see that it's just written so well, and that's a credit to Lindelof per usual, and just for her to execute it so well and make it her own really works. And what was really cool about this episode and how they introduced her is that it's all coming at first from like her perspective, and we're shifting focus now from the first 2 episodes is all from Angela's gang and in Tulsa, and now it's kind of you're seeing it from an outsider's perspective in Laurie, and it works really well. And it also, in that aspect, looking at things from Laurie's perspective of the gang we're originally used to from the beginning, is it's graying them all up now. Now it isn't so cut and dry anymore about everybody. And she even makes Angela look really bad at one point in their confrontation, which was a great scene in this episode, calling her out for basically just catching her every move and hinting at the Ku Klux Klan thing. So they do that really well, and now you're just adding another chess piece to this show and different intentions. And what was so good about this was the ongoing narration here, or should I say just the cut scene going to later on where she's in this booth, but it starts off with that, and she's telling the story, this joke, to Dr. Manhattan in her head from this booth. And it's a really cool concept to even have this booth that goes to Mars that probably doesn't work, or maybe it actually does now that we see the car fell, but it's just a really good thing to layer on top of this whole episode. And it had that Leftovers vibe again. Lindelof's brilliant at just having a whole kind of theme going on from top to bottom, but having just talking about these famous Watchmen each going to God and how he treats them, and then having God talk to basically a version of herself, and him not catching her throwing the brick and it falling on his head and killing God, and then he goes to hell. And it's just showing you too, just like really felt like Watchmen and what Watchmen is about, and just making, really calling out all hypocrisy on all sides. And that's what's great about having Laurie's character thrown in here, is because she's that person now that's learned so much and seen it all in a way, and can call people out on their BS. And it goes on this whole episode, and it really felt like the first episode truly felt like Watchmen, because I know a lot of people were complaining about that still didn't feel like that. It was just Easter eggs, but didn't feel like the Watchmen. This felt like Watchmen to a T. So it was so impressive in so many parts. The music's still been just great. And just the funny ideas they have to go with this whole lore of Watchmen. Has to be the best moment was just her taking out the blue dildo for Dr. Manhattan. Oh my God, that was so funny and so perfect. Just, oh my God, I loved it. And everything going on with Ozymandias, and he's even put on his old outfit. That gave me chills. Just him having like a cheap cosplay of it was great, and he's kind of losing his mind. And it's looking more and more like the theories about him being a prisoner on Mars is looking more accurate, or a prisoner of some sort somewhere. And it shows you just the strength of Reddit and their theories now. It's kind of like what was happening in Westworld, where they really do catch a lot, and Lindelof's trying to just stay one step ahead. But man, fans are so smart now, and they really look at everything. But he's done such a good job, Lindelof, because there's so much Easter eggs in each episode, and as the week goes on, there's still new ones being discovered. So it's really a complicated show, but in a good way. It makes you think. It's a exciting event now. It's a must watch, and I know I'm gonna watch it probably 3 more times just to catch more stuff and go on the Reddit and read about it. And it's an event, and that's what's really cool, is having shows like this that really challenge the audience, and it doesn't leave great stories and characters behind. He always makes great stories, focuses on great characters, and he kind of all had that blended here with some really good action too. Just the whole fake bank trap here with that like cheap version of Night Owl which was great. And that was like showing you too how Laurie, how she works for the FBI now and where she is, and she's actually hunting down vigilantes, and it's just going to these laws with Keene and how his father in the past set that up, and now he's running, and then you don't know if he's setting up some of these things to make him look better to get elected. It's a whole thing they're just opening up, and it's pretty wild, and they really just did a good job too of hitting on Silk Spectre's psyche at the end there, where she's tearing up to Dr. Manhattan and misses this man, and she's not over him, and it's just shown clearly here. And then the car coming down, you can make a lot of theories about that, and it's just cool because it reflects well to the first episode. Where it reflects well to the second episode where the car gets pulled up, and in this episode we're pretty much ending with the car coming down. So just always this thing from above here in this mystery. Really cool stuff, and even them just mentioning stuff about Russia, that they could be doing something with like some kind of field or something electric. I don't know, but it's definitely a threat, and so they just throw these little tidbits in, and it's just clicking. And even just Tim Blake Nelson killing it here as Looking Glass, and him having a good scene here with Silk Spectre in the pod, and her even calling him out on his BS, and just some great humor as well in this scene as well. Just her looking in his mask, and she's like, I gotta look if it's a mirror, you can't blame me, checking her teeth. So just little things like that. It was a lot, and I felt it. I felt, if you hadn't even watched anything Watchmen or read any Watchmen before, you got a vibe from this episode more of like what the whole Watchmen thing is about, and just all this grayness and realness to it, and just really depressing in a way too, but it works, and it's it makes you think, and I think that really all worked here and came together. I can't, the credit I give this episode is that if you're giving any creator or writer just cut and dry, write the best episode you can introducing an old famous character in Silk Spectre into a show, could you do it any better than this? I don't think you could. So that has to be praised, and it still just keeps solid ground. It is great HBO television as well. I'm giving this episode the best episode of the season so far. Gonna give it a 9.5. And what's cool about Lindelof is his shows just get better and better most of the time. Clearly with Leftovers, that was the case, and it didn't stop. So I'd like to see that keep happening here, where each episode kind of goes up in score, and that just gets crazier and crazier, and it seems like it's going that way in the way he's setting it up. And even the preview for next week looks super great. So we'll see. But let me know what you thought of it down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I read every comment, try to respond as many as I can. And please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss one of my reviews of Watchmen. I'll be doing every episode. I'm also doing His Dark Materials, which will be up. And also, I'm doing the morning show. So make sure to check that out. And I also do celebrity interviews as well. And please follow me at Steve Varley1 on Twitter and Instagram for more of me. And I'll see you next time.